Welcome to the Creature Cast, the official Console Creatures podcast. I am your host, today's Steve Egvar, and alongside me is my good pal Bobby. How the heck are you this week, Bobby?
I'm doing beautiful, but according to this program, my name is Matt. So
Hey, me too.
I think we should just call each other Matt for the rest of this.
We are a couple Matts. This is the Matt
Couple.
Cast.
We're the Matty Maths of
Matty
the game
Matheson.
world.
We are the Matty Mathesons of the video game industry.
world.
That's right.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm very excited to be sitting here talking to you. It's also a very exciting week for Console Creatures and the umbrella of the Creature Cast. We launched PlayStation Generation. Well, we didn't. You and I didn't really do all that much. We kind of just sat back and let Court, Matt, and Rice, they took the reins on this new show. So I hope everyone out there, you guys go check it out. Support the show. It's a great PlayStation centric show. Talked about it last week when we did our Rise of the Ronin review. It's basically all because of you guys out there. You guys came out to support Creature Cast, Console Creatures, and then said, "Hey, we want a PlayStation show." And that's what we did. That's what, again, I'm taking a lot of credit here. That's what we did, Bobby. We made this happen. We're really putting in the work here.
You did bring up the idea, so I mean, we'll give you some credit, but
yeah. How are you feeling about the new show? It's launched. It's out there.
It's kind of geriatric. No, it's not. It's not. It's pretty hip and popping for a podcast that's got a good old man on there. But no,
young bucks to really
balance it. Or is a young buck. I'm not gonna shoehorn him anymore. He's good.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's a good vibe on there. The first episode's pretty cool. They reviewed a lot of games for an introductory episode. So like that kind of tells you that it's something they want to, hit the ground running on. And so far the success is kind of there. I mean, I'm seeing the numbers, and the response on social media has been pretty positive. So yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, I know we have a couple other things planned that are going to line up with 2024 and 2025. So I mean, this is like step maybe 2 out of our overarching goal. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this turns out and then what it leads into.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. And I mean, we're seeing it right here. We're doing video now, video podcasts, not just once in a while. We're now maintaining some sort of regular cadence, which is nice. I mean, it's still, nuts and bolts. We're getting it off the ground. We're figuring it out. We got, a generic Dragon's Dogma 2 background. We're sorting it out though. Next week, a little step up, and then another step up, incrementals. But again, that was all because of you, the audience, coming out and supporting us, telling us we want video. So again, we're going to do that for you. We're going to provide that service for you because we love you so much. But just to reiterate, just because we launched PlayStation Generation means nothing changes here. We're still going to be hanging out. I know Dave has been away a little while. He's got a lot on his plate. He just, publicly announced he's having a child. So, being a father in a little bit, that's gonna take him away. So yeah, he'll still be, part of the family. He's still gonna be joining us when he can. But I mean, yeah, he's got a lot going on right now, but we still love him. We still invite him on here, and he'll be back eventually whenever he's able to. But the show must go on, Bobby. We got games to talk about. I'm excited to talk about these games. Since the last time we put out a Dragon's Dogma 2 review, we put out Rise of the Ronin review.
Yep.
What else have you been playing lately?
Basically, I've been trying to platinum Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and trying to make sense of that ending because it's a lot to digest. But I don't know if I'm gonna do this platinum run because it is legitimately hair pulling, and I feel like I'm grinding my teeth playing this game because it is really unfair. If you've done it, I mean, good for you, but like you probably have internal issues that you probably need to get resolved because it is a game for masochists. And
that's what I've heard. I do want to give a shout out. Mobile Syrup's Brad Shankar, he did it. against
no, he's a
all odds.
masochist. He's a masochist. Yeah,
I
no,
couldn't
he
believe it.
likes
I was
it.
like, "Good for you, man." I'm nowhere near. I'm still, like, halfway through. I set it aside for some games, but I took a look at that trophy list, and I was like, "Ah, no way."
It's insane. It's
Yeah.
insane. Like, I love Square Enix, but they don't respect people's times. Like, just seeing, like, power picks is like roadmap,
Oh, yeah.
it's minimum 200 hours, and it's like, no, why? Why do I need to do that? Why is it more like Alan Wake, where I finished it 45 hours, got the platinum, and I was satisfied. I got everything done. I moved on. And it's one of my most proudest moments to date is I finished that game and like I enjoyed every moment of it.
Right.
But I don't know. This one's just like it's like a white whale for me. I want to do it, but like I'm looking at just some of the brutal challenges, and it's like I have to prepare for that, and you have to like get all your material ready, and you have to do this, you got to do that, and
Mhm.
it's like, is the trade-off worth it? And I'm like, no. So I'm like on teetering on the edge of whether I should do it or not. But yeah, I'm gonna finish a hard playthrough and then maybe see where I am after that. But the brutal stuff, that's insane. Playing the mini games on hard and expert, most of them are fun. The 3D brawling game is absolute ass. I honestly think it's the dumbest mini game ever, just because it's really hard to gauge when hits are coming at you and when to dodge and when to block and uppercut. And it's the one game that I can't beat. Like, I'm trying to just finish it and it's impossible. So I don't know. That's like my main off the clock game. I'm trying to do that.
Yeah.
I don't advise it, but if you're playing it, play the game to the end. The ending is insane. I posted like my own theory on there, and like I feel like it's completely different than everything was talking about. We've also got like a spoiler cast episode that left me unconvinced of whether I liked it or not. But now that I've
Mm.
played the ending again, I'm more on the positive side. I feel like it's a great way to do something different, but honor what the first game did. And yeah, I don't know. Check it out. Check my review. Check out our spoiler cast, and maybe check out my theory. I think it's got some gravity to it. Like, I feel like it is not the multiverse as everyone's expecting, and it's something tied to the bigger lore. And I'm all for it. Like, I feel like I trust Square on this one.
Interesting, yeah. I
Yeah.
quickly saw, like, the beginning of your thread, and my brain initially, like, quickly kicked in. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna spoil something." So I just put up my blinders. I was like, "No, Bobby, no, no, no,
No.
I can't look,
I mean,
I can't." I do need to get back to this game immediately because
I
now
mean,
it is becoming.
you have to. The
Yeah,
last like 3 chapters are insane. Like, I think they're probably the most well done chapters that Square's done in like over a decade. Like, it really is like the best thing they've put out
yeah.
in like
I
12
I I can't
years.
wait, because it is a lot of fun. I just when I stopped and kinda switched over to, Rise of the Ronin and Dragon's Dogma, I just got to the beach. Got
Oh man,
everyone in
there's
their
so much.
swimsuits, and I was just hitting the beach. It was beach time for our little family.
No, yeah, no, you have a lot to look
Oh,
forward
yeah.
to. I'm really sad that it's over for me, but hopefully you can get to the end soon, because like there's just so much to digest, and like it's so cool what they've done with it. But I can see why people are not really happy with what they did. But at the same time, I mean, they kind of warned you to, look to the compilation stuff, and they're actually sticking to what they said instead of what I think is a lazy multiverses story. I really don't think that's what it is, and I hope I'm proven right
Mhm.
in like 4 years when they're like, "Well, we told you it wasn't a multiverse." So we'll see, because I know it feels like it's a red herring, but I don't feel like it is.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
keep that in mind when I start, getting through it.
Yeah, and then on top of that, I know we're still playing Dragon's Dogma, and this game is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I know people are very torn on it, but I honestly, the more I get into it and like the further I unlock things, it's like this game is amazing. It really is night and day difference than the first game, and I
Mhm.
know it's more of the same, but hey, you know what? They perfected it. So
How
yeah.
how far are you now?
Oh, I got one of the endings.
Okay.
I'm working towards the true ending because I know that's
Same.
there.
Yeah.
But I've just been zapping around with a thief because I actually didn't know the thief was that good until I
It's
saw some
so
of the
much
videos.
fun.
I know, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna restart from. I bought the vocation. I
Yeah.
started leveling up, and it's insane. So I've been balancing between that and the Mystic Spear, and Jesus, like they're both amazing classes. Like I wish these were in games like Elden Ring because, like,
Mhm.
oh man, like I can see them being there.
Yeah, I could see that. The
Yeah,
Mystic Spear one is one that I wanna start leveling up and everything. Like, I got all the way to the quote unquote "the fake ending," the easy
yeah,
ending, if you will. And I played it all the way through as a thief. And now that I'm in the midst of getting the true ending, and then once that completes, I'm gonna switch over. I'm
yeah,
looking forward to what the end game of this of Dragon's Dogma 2 is, because there is kind of an end game sort of thing in
yeah.
there.
There is.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm astounded by this game, man. Like, coming
Yeah, it
into
came
it,
out of nowhere.
yeah. Like, I knew, there was gonna be a deep fantasy RPG here, and it was gonna be, a pawn system, so, stuff that we could kind of expect
Yeah,
just from tangentially know, or at least for me, tangentially knowing the original game. But even when we
yeah,
started talking about it in the review, that was like super surface level to what I started getting into
yep. And that's the thing.
post that review. Like, post those first 25, 30 hours, I was still reaching like new heights in terms of what was possible with the narrative, the systems. The Dragon's Plague is horrifying and brutally, soul
It's
crushing.
genius. It's
Yeah.
genius. But at the same time, I mean, just the lack of saves coming kind of makes
Mm,
it really unfair.
sure.
Luckily, I haven't been hit by it.
Yeah.
I've been able to avoid it, but I've seen what it does, and like that's so cool. Like I love the fact that if you don't pay attention, you can nuke a whole town.
Yeah.
And why don't more games do that? Let the game destroy your world.
Right.
It's so cool. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, even thinking about Skyrim, I don't think anything like that even comes close to that game.
I
I know
I I
the
think the
dragon attacks.
closest I think the closest in a Bethesda game is just the ability to kill NPCs, just
Yeah,
willy nilly. Like, I can't remember if it's Skyrim or Fallout 4, which was the first where you could kill NPCs that are crucial to certain quests and side quests. I
it
think
sounds like Skyrim. I think it was
I think it
Skyrim.
was Skyrim where you could kill at least like NPCs that were tied to side quests and not like the main path, like the golden path stuff. That feels right, but that I guess that was the first game that where I was like, "Oh my god, there's so
Yeah,
much freedom in this game where I could just ruin my experience if I wanted to." And I think, yeah, we're kinda seeing that next level now where the game itself is putting that onus on the player. I did start getting the Dragon's Plague. One of my pawns did contract it, and I got the pop-up, and it's like, "Hey, if you don't start doing X, Y, and Z, or you pass it along to a different pawn, this is gonna have, like, major repercussions
yep,
to your game." And immediately, I picked him up and just threw him into the water. So the brine or whatever guy, like, killed him, and then you, like,
yep,
reincarnate him at
yep,
the one of the stones or whatever.
yep,
Um but yeah, as soon as I got that notification, I was like, "What is this?" The game,
yep,
like, there's no basis for the system up until, like, I think I was 40, 50 hours in before it even started, like, kicking in. I was like, "Oh my goodness."
yep.
So, seeing the player reaction and the community reaction to that has been hysterical, because I don't think a lot of people are ready for that kind of nonsense.
It doesn't like Dragon's Dogma does not hold your hand in any way,
Mm-mm.
and like I feel like today's like average gamer doesn't understand that,
No.
or and like they're not ready for it because everything today is kind of catered to accessibility, which is obviously not wrong, but playing a game like this where it's like there's no hand holding, there's no tutorials, and you're just kind of like thrown into this world to figure everything out. I can see why this series never really took off in the beginning, and why it's such a cult classic now. But yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of why I miss these kind of games because it's like I am like the obviously the arisen.
Yep.
I'm the one who's going out to explore, and I'm the one who's like dealing with these issues. So like if I get hit with say the dragon's plague, I'm the one who has to figure out how to stop it. Or if I'm in a cave and I have no health, it's like I'm the one who has to get out of there without losing a pawn or
Mhm.
getting any more hits, because in this game, like if you die, you respawn with less health than you when you started. And like I don't know if that's a glitch or if it's intended, but
No,
it
it's
makes you really pick
intended.
and choose. Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
you pick and choose what you're doing if you want to keep going for cave diving or finding crafting materials. It's like, do you think it's worth it to get in there, or do you think like what do you, like you have to pick and choose what you're doing? And like I love that. It's not like you can just go out and do everything like Legend of Zelda.
Right. Yeah, exactly, because, yeah, at a certain point, you kinda have to choose, okay, do I pursue another cave, or do I go back to camp, or do I go back to town and sleep at an inn or stuff like that? Um, it really does remind me of that first, I don't know, 2 weeks of Elden Ring, where it felt
Yep.
very much like pre-internet days when the game came out, no one knew anything about it. There were so many
Yep.
secrets, so many systems that players were
Yep.
discovering and then kind of putting out onto the internet and be like, "Oh my god, I figured this out, I figured that out," and everything connecting the dots. It really does feel like that. I don't know if this is a very mild spoiler for Dragon's Dogma. Did you face the Medusa?
Oh man, yeah, I did.
Okay.
That was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like
But but did
I
you
don't
figure
even
out how
know.
to decapitate it? Like off the rip?
Uh, I had to look it up.
Yeah.
I had to look it
Well,
up.
so did I, yeah.
Because it was just like, what do I do? And it's just like, there's not even a hint where to say. I was kind of expecting something from the pawn to like maybe like say, hey, in my world, this is what we did. But like, nope. I went at it like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, well, I don't have time for this. Like, I just went and looked it up. But like, it's a pretty ingenious way to solve that. It's like, whoa, why aren't more games doing stuff like that?
Mhm.
But I think the boss battle is probably some of the strongest things in this game, and just fighting like the Griffin,
Right.
or even like just there's like that werewolf, like even the werewolf. It seems like it's just like a cannon fodder enemy, but like they're overpowered, like they're
Mhm.
amazing. Like you always have to figure out how to fight them.
Yeah.
It's not just like you fight them once and you kind of figure it out. I've noticed like the last 3 or 4 times, it's always something different that I'm not noticing, and like they'll take me down for it.
Sure. Yeah,
But
yeah, I love how organic they all are. It isn't like, "Hey, walk into this dungeon, and at the end of the dungeon, there's guaranteed to be this boss." It's just, no, you could be walking down the road, and all of a sudden, yeah, a werewolf is just lurking above you and jumps down and starts attacking to you. One of my favorite ones is the rock monster. I don't know the name of it, to be honest, but it's the one that shoots like the beam out of its eyes, got a bunch of glowing parts all over its body that you
yeah,
have to attack. That one's one of my favorites. The griffin is a lot of fun to fight as well. And then yeah, just the mini dragon battles. They're way more
man, the
involved.
Drake battles are insane. Like I love the Drake battles.
Yeah.
I cheesed my first one, so I don't know if you did this, but like there's that first one in the opening hours where you're in the capital and like you see the Drake show up, and I was like, what do I do? Do I fight it, or is it like one of those battles where you don't win? It's just like a cutscene. But surprisingly, I like followed this path up through the capital, and I killed it because the ballista gun was there, and I was just like, maybe I'll try
Oh,
this, and it killed it in 3 shots. It was like,
really?
oh yeah, you could just knock it out in 3 or 4 hits with the
Huh.
ballistic gun and the catapult, and it's just like, okay, well, why did like I'm glad this was here because I did not want to fight it. I would have lost. I honestly would have
Sure.
lost.
I didn't even think about that. That's so
Yeah,
funny
you could do
because
stuff like that. It saves you so much time because at that point, like if you let it, invade the town, it'll destroy things. So it's like you have the choice if you, seek it out to, use the environment to your search, your benefit, and
yeah.
stuff like that happens.
Yeah,
And
I knew there was the ballista, like, at the top, and I didn't even think about going there because for me, what happened was I was so underleveled that it was taking so much time that at a
yeah,
certain point, the dragon just fucked off. I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, I didn't even get to beat it." It just I got it, like, 2/3 of the way down, and it was like, "Oh, time's up, bye." I was like, "Ah,
yeah.
come on."
It's stuff like that. It's just like I love that the fact that there's like that freedom.
Yeah,
It doesn't feel scripted in that sense. And I know
no.
people are like, well, this game's really scripted. I'm like, well, first off, it's not, and two, every game is scripted if you're actually
Right.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like, and I know people have been fighting you about that all week,
Uh-huh.
but no, these emergent events are amazing. I actually love them. I want more games to do them, but like I understand it's taxing on the coders and stuff. So whatever, if it happens, it happens. But like it's a great example in Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah.
And even more so, like you're today of all things, like I saw a couple of videos where people were using catapults to discover secret areas that I didn't
Right.
even know existed. And it's
No.
like, I love that. Like, why aren't more games doing that? And I'm gonna go explore it later tonight and see if I can find these areas because like I
Same.
want to know what's down there and like just I'm having so much fun with this game. It really is like that first week of Elden Ring where everyone was just like, "Have you been to this point yet? And have you seen this?" And it's so rare these days to have that feeling. So it really is, I guess, beholden to this genre of Team Souls, Soulsborns, whatever this game is. I mean, it feels like it's a mix of all these. So I don't even know if it's one of those at this point because it doesn't feel like that. But it just it gets very unique in what it does, and I don't want to like label it as a Soulsborne when it really isn't. But
No,
yeah,
but I do want to because I do agree with you. I think it airs more towards Soulsborne only in its exploration and the fact that the entire map isn't supposed to be explored to its fullest like a traditional open world fantasy RPG would.
yeah,
Like Dragon's Age, they would put every single icon all over the map and be like, go
yeah.
to this dungeon, go to this house, go to
I don't
this,
want
go to
that.
that.
But who wants
And
that?
for some games, I enjoy that. I enjoy like the checkbox Ubisoft kind of game, but here it's not like that at all. It's not telling you, hey, you got to go explore this dungeon. At the end of the dungeon, you'll fight some enemies and then get this rare piece of loot and then rinse and repeat. It's all very different. It's all very organic. So that if I do happen to come across a cave, sure, there might be something in there. There might not be, to be totally honest. I've come across, certain areas of the map, certain like smaller POIs where it's like this was a kind of a waste of time, but it doesn't feel like a waste of time only because the game's not made to set that
And
expectation of,
I
hey,
don't think
this
it
is the
needs to
loop.
be. I don't
Exactly.
think it needs to be. Like honestly, I don't. And here's another thing. So going back to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, like there
Yeah.
are segments where I obviously want to explore the whole map, but like it's not possible. There's just too much to do in that game, and
Hmm.
more so a game like Dragon's Dogma. There's just too many challenges in front of me. Like I don't want to explore the map because if I get too far, I'm gonna screw myself. And I've seen people online and you post say, you lost like 5 hours
Yeah.
of a of your save, and it's like I don't want to do that. So like I just want to stay as close to the towns and the camps as possible where I can save every so often because like this game you're limited to one save. You can't access it from the main menu. It's literally just you load into the game. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to lose progress because if I do, I'm just going to quit the game at that point. So like I'm trying to limit my exposure,
Right.
but I'm still having fun because there's still so much to do. Like I can save and then I can head west for an hour and come across enemies, some treasures, some caves, and then camp.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back through the path. And like there's ways to enjoy it without having to explore everything.
Yeah, exactly. It always for me, it always comes down to if I can see the smoke of a campfire like out in the distance, I'm like, okay, at least I know that like that's my beacon. That's my
Yep.
if I can get to there with the limited amount of health I have left, I'm good. I'm good to
Yep.
go. But if I'm in the middle of nowhere, it starts getting dark. I can't see a campfire anywhere. I'm headed back because yeah, that risk reward system just it does not incentivize me to go lurking out in the shadows because I am inevitably going to die, and so are my pawns, and then I'm going to get upset.
It's more realistic like that though, because
Yeah,
like I mean, if you're going camping, you're sticking to the path, and where there's fire, you're gonna try and look for it. Otherwise, if you go too deep in the forest, you're lost, and you don't know what's out there. So no, I don't want to deal with that.
yeah,
And I think it's beautifully crafted like that way. I know I've seen online some people are just like, well, it's just a rehash. But you know what? It's perfected rehash. I feel like they really did the up the ante. Like I really feel like it having its second spot in 2024 on
mhm,
PlayStation and Xbox and PC. The tech there is able to provide the experience that it couldn't 10 years ago, which I love. I feel like if it doesn't work here, it'll work later down the road. And I feel like that's what this kind of game is. It's like it had the building blocks, but it wasn't connecting. So it wasn't a Lego set until till now. It's just
Sure.
all the blocks came together. It fits well. And now they just got to figure out like the technical stuff. Okay, I understand that they use the RE engine. It's a great engine, but I think this is the first time we're seeing an open world
Yeah.
game RE. And if that's what we're going for, I mean, I feel like we're gonna see that RE open world game with RE9, which has been rumored for so long. Like
Right.
this feels like the predecessors to that. And if this is what it is, I'm all for it. I think
Same.
like,
I'm glad you brought it up because I did want to kind of touch on that. There was that report that, Resident
yeah,
Evil 9 might be an open world game. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I don't really care about, what the story will be and everything like that. I don't even want to get into whether or not it's going to be like technically
it,
sound or anything like that.
yeah,
For me, it's okay. We're in this open world, wherever it is, wherever it's taking place, but the emergent events of zombies
they're amazing.
in an
Yeah, like
open world
yeah,
Resident Evil game, like, just imagine those emergent events with a troll, a werewolf, whatever,
yeah.
but just swap it out with some sort of, a liquor or whatever from
Like a
Resident
like a
Evil,
Mr.
like
X
or a Mr. Exactly. To me,
or
that
Nemesis, like
yeah.
just popping up, and you're like, "What do I do? I'm in the forest. I'm screwed."
Yeah. Am I able to get to, the safe room where I can save
Yeah.
at a typewriter, or do I have to go back to, like a town or something? Like, to me, that scares the shit out of me, and I'm not even playing the game yet.
Yep. And that's what I'm talking about. So like if they're built, like I said, these are all building blocks, and I'm
Yeah.
glad that this they're establishing it now. And within like maybe 6 2 months to a year, like I feel like it will be fine-tuned. I figure Dragon's Dogma will play better. And I'm kind of bummed that it didn't happen at launch. But you know what? It's not unplayable. I
No.
don't feel like it's unplayable. Like I've had a lot of fun with it in spite of it being so technically underwhelming. But you know what? That's fine.
I mean, even technically underwhelming. The only thing that I've kind of experienced are like a drop in frame, but I've
That's
never had
it.
a crash. I've never had any hitches to NPCs or my progress outside of like the save state, but that's a built-in function. That's not, a bug or a glitch or anything like that. So I think as far as what the RE engine is still able to do and produce, I think it's reasonably sound outside of,
Yeah.
dedicated frames, which I think overall not too shabby for again an ambitious game built on an engine that's used to some sort of linearity. I think for Capcom, this is a great way to kind of test the waters with a lot of exposure too. I think a lot of exposure coming into Dragon's Dogma too. A lot of people have their eyes on this game, whether or not they're playing it right now.
And that's the thing. I mean, there's a good word of mouth.
Yeah,
I know that like obviously like I keep saying that there is a small vocal minority that's very unpleasant. I'm gonna go with unpleasant
sure,
because
they
that's the
are.
only word. And yeah, exactly. Like they're unpleasant, but like you know what? The most I've heard is I'm having fun, but it's kind of bad in frame rate, which is fine. And that's the worst complaint I've seen.
Yeah,
That's pretty good for me. I feel like if your biggest complaint is technical frame rate, fine, that's fixable. Everything
right.
else is fun. Gameplay loop is fun. I love combat in this game. Like it is thrilling every time. That like that battle theme is like probably one of my favorites.
It's
It's so
really
good
good.
when it hits.
In the
It hits
middle of a
hard. Like
dragon battle, that's when
yeah,
it peaks, and I'm like, "I'm in it now." Like, I don't care how many health bars it has, like, I'm in it
yeah,
for the next 15 minutes. Keep it going because 'cause I'm
yeah.
loving every second of this.
And that's what it comes down to. Like everything ends up coming together really well. And like I feel like if you're getting upset because it doesn't play as well as you want it, then buddy, you have bigger problems and you probably shouldn't be playing video games because like nothing is perfect in the games industry anymore. Like the days where games launched, technically sound like they're bigger beasts than they were 20 years ago. So
Yeah,
surprise games are coming out these days at all. Like if a game even ships is like a magic moment for these
it's a
developers. So you know
miracle,
what?
yeah.
It's a miracle. So you know what? I'll take it. Like I obviously there are caveats to like I'm not gonna say if it's broken I'll enjoy it, but like these massive games are pretty good for what they're doing. So I'm loving it. I mean,
Yeah.
Dragon's Dogma 2 is shaping up to be like one of my top games this year. I don't know. I doubt it's gonna be Rebirth because of how important that game is to me, but like it
Sure.
feels like it's a close second. I mean, it really came out of nowhere. I always said I did like the first Dragon's Dogma, but it wasn't until the second I was like, whoa, I really love this game. Like it
Yep.
really is. It resonates with me a lot more, and it feels like it has a good chance of being Game of the Year. But we'll
Yeah.
see.
I mean, it's definitely in the conversation. I still want to play more just to kind of balance it out with, because for me right now, Helldivers is still the top dog for me,
Oh,
and then I
yeah, I know.
wanna I wanna beat Rebirth as well just to kind of see how it stacks up. But already I'm seeing, that's the trifecta there: Dragon's Dogma, Helldivers, and Rebirth. But we're just at the end of March. I mean, it's kind of
That's
crazy
the problem.
how good this year has been despite, the industry side of the layoffs and everything, but from a software perspective, it's been really, really kind to
It's
us.
been a strong year, and I mean, I actually want to pull up the calendar because I mean, I'm kind of curious. I don't even know what's coming out past April
I
because
mean,
there's just so much happening.
yeah, yeah. Tales of Kenzera is coming out soon. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I have to play
Um,
that one.
then you got Stellar Blade, Hellblade 2.
Oh yeah, Stellar Blade. Yeah, and Hellblade. See, like those are games I'm looking forward to,
Yep.
and I really feel like Hellblade 2 will be in that game of the year
I hope
discussion
so. Yeah.
because
Ninja
the
Theory.
first one, yeah, first game was insane.
Yeah.
I loved it. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I feel like the first 4 months of 2024 kind of gave you what you're going to get at the end of the year. So if that's what we're expecting, then cool. I'm all for it. Like there are some pretty strong contenders for Game of the Year by March, so that's cool. I mean, we'll see. Even still, like I know we have some expansions, but like those I don't really count for Game of the Year. I don't think it's fair to just something like Shadow of the Earth Tree to be Game of the
Sure.
Year. But who knows? It could
Yeah.
blow
I
us
don't
all
know.
away.
Well, we don't have to worry about that because Canadians are never involved in the voting process.
Oh yeah, that's right. Even though it's run by a Canadian, which
Yeah.
makes no sense. Well, whatever.
Well,
We'll always have. Well, actually, we got nothing. We got.
we'll have our game of the year discussion. That's for
That's
sure.
fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
That's more
that's fine,
important. That's more important. That's more
right?
important than
Yeah,
game of the
everyone
year.
wants our accolades. Have you gone back to Rise of the Ronin at all?
Not really. I know I probably should. I actually want to, but
Yeah,
you know how it is. Like
of course.
Dragon's Dogma, it's like you start and you're like, well, I could probably do a couple more caves and go into these caves. And I hate the Saurians, so like every time I see them, I make sure I throw them into the river. Like I
Yep,
have to.
you have to.
So yeah, no, I need to go back. I want to go back. I'd say like 80% to the end, but
Okay,
I do like it. I'm happy that it reviewed moderately well.
moderately. Yeah,
It, it is a good game. So I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, like, you know what? The complaints that people are having, I don't find valid to myself. I don't find them validating because, it doesn't need to look that good. It is probably why it plays so well, is because they didn't really need to focus on the graphics. Team
right.
Ninja's bread and butter has always been gameplay.
Yep.
And gameplay is a 9 out of 10 for me. Like it handles so well. And that's all I care for. Like it's not ugly at all. People are saying it's ugly. I'm like, what game are we playing? As people say it looks like a PS3 game. I'm like,
Y'all need to go back to
no.
PS3. If you think this
Yeah,
game
go
looks like a
back to
PS,
PS3.
honestly,
And
boot up your old PS3, your Foreman Grill PS3,
yeah.
and show me side by side.
And I'm like, I just don't see those complaints. And
No.
I know, granted, I'm playing on an OLED, so I mean, obviously my TV's got bells and whistles to upres the game and make it look better. But even without it, I feel like it isn't that ugly. It's a Team Ninja game. We know what they do, and I love it. Like it is like a good uh Sekiro adjacent game. Like it
Yep.
really scratches that itch for me because I love Sekiro. It was one of my favorite games when it launched, and we got nothing like it ever since. Like we got Ghost of Tsushima. I can't really say it's the same.
No.
This game scratches that itch for Sekiro. Like I want a Sekiro sequel, and if and when we get one, I'm happy for it. But in the interim, Rise of the Ronin scratches everything and checks all those boxes for me.
Yeah.
So
I'm
I want to go back. I want to finish it. I know that we posted a review and Cord
Mhm.
and Matt were sour on it, but who cares? You know what? It's fun. It's
Yeah.
ultimately fun. I'm here to cut people apart with a katana. That's all I care
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, exactly. And no, I think you nailed it right on the head there. I think in terms of it being a Team Ninja game, this game couldn't exist if it tried to be as ambitious as Ghost of
Yeah.
Tsushima. I think they're two different teams, two different budgets, two different scopes. And I think just knowing what Team Ninja is capable of, it makes sense that, they prioritize the combat, the mechanics and stuff like that. Sure, not everything hit for me. I'm still
No.
going back to it, but like
Obviously.
the bond system kind of over ambitious. I think it's kind of just lackluster and didn't really need to
Yeah.
even be there. The story is very whatever, but in terms of just being an open world game, having a bunch of checkbox things and icons to do, fill my time when I'm not playing Dragon's Dogma. I keep popping back in, going and petting some kitties, and you know, going into little enemy compounds and stuff like that. It's all just to service the gameplay, which is astounding. I like.
That's what
There's
it comes down
no
to.
complaints. Like like no notes. 10 out of 10. I
Like, I
love the
feel like a
combat.
samurai. Do you not feel
Yeah,
like a samurai when you're able to parry and then you strike and, like, you see something lob off and you're like, "Whoa, that's
yeah.
cool."
It never gets old. It's
It
so
doesn't get old.
awesome. The variety of weapons is so cool. Having the sub weapons.
Yeah.
Um, for
There's
I
so
was
much to
playing
love.
I was playing the other day, and for the first time, I picked up a bayonet, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Holy shit, this is awesome!" You can like swipe just as you would like a regular sword, and then
Yeah.
pull back and like shoot him in the face. I was like, "This is so sick!" And I wish I had this
Everything
way
is good.
earlier on.
Yeah, like, every weapon type is amazing. Like, you just have to, like, put the time in and experiment, and that's what I don't feel like people do enough of. They stick to 1 or 2 weapon types because, like, they're familiar and they
Sure,
like them, but these games offer, like, 5 or 6 to 7 weapon types, and it's like, why aren't you using them? Like,
yeah,
I feel like people should be, experimenting more, but at the same time, like, I don't wanna say gamers are closed-minded, but they kinda are. Like, they pick 2 or 3 genres they like, and they stick to it, and they refuse to play anything else. But if you open up your mind, you play something different, you'll get new introspective. You'll get you get some new experience. Like, it feels like by shutting yourself off, you don't get to enjoy things the way they're intended. And that goes for small things like that, like picking your weapons. Like, normally, like I said, in Dragon's Dogma, I usually pick the sword and shield. I went thief and,
yeah,
like, I had a blast because it's so different than what I expected. It's small things like that. It's just like, I wish more people did that,
sure.
and
Or I
step
just,
outside the comfort zone.
and I know this is a big ask for people not within, our bubble, but like more of like the general consumer and
Yeah,
player and stuff like that, but just having some sort of background knowledge of what a studio is capable of or what their even intended vision is, because
yeah.
the amount of people who may have the expectation coming into this and saying, "Oh, this isn't Ghost of Tsushima." I was like,
It
It's
was
not.
never
It never
ever gonna be
was." And to me, it's just very frustrating to hear
the
a
problem is.
community
Yeah,
outcry because of that. And it's like, if only you knew what Team Ninja has been doing the past 5 years, you would have that appropriate expectation coming into this game. But even like, not to name names, but even people within our circles, they're like, "Oh, it doesn't look as good as Ghost of Tsushima. It doesn't do this as good as good." I was like, "But it's not. It's just
it's
you,
none of
you have
that.
to
It's
separate the two. Like Elden Ring isn't. I don't like Zelda Breath of the Wild. So why are we even talking about them in the same
that's
conversation? You know what I
exactly
mean?
it. Like, sure, they all share, similarities, but
Similarity, sure.
that's where the buck stops. And, like, really, like, what one game you're saving a princess, the other game you're stopping, like, this god from destroying the world. It's
Right.
like, okay, there are similarities, but they're not the same. And so, like, you know what? No, no, you can't look at that. And the problem is, and, like, I hate to keep saying it, you have YouTubers and people who thrive off of incitement. So they're inciting their viewers to to get upset because it's not what they wanted. So if you don't like Ghost of Tsushima and you're seeing Rise of the Ronin, you're like, okay, it's not that. But if you like Ghost of Tsushima, you want more of that, and you see this game, you're like, no, guys, we're boycotting it because it's not what we wanted. What
It's
I
not what
wanted.
I want. Yeah.
And that's what I'm noticing on social media these days, and that's why it's getting really hard to have conversations on Twitter, because as soon as you say something, you've got armchair experts and daddy's abandoned child chiming in with their stupid opinion I don't care about and saying, my opinion's wrong. Well, you know what? No,
Sure.
you're wrong, and your dad doesn't like you. So sorry.
And not to pat ourselves on the back too much, but I
No, we
do
have to. We have to.
but I am kind of proud that we are able to have those honest conversations for an audience, and kind of, at least to me, again, I'm just trying to put I think that we're very fair with our criticisms of games, not just Rise of the Ronin, but just games in general. And I think at least there are, I mean, a lot of podcasts out there. I'm not even just, singling us out, but I think there's still hope out there for
There-
content, for an audience to not only educate but also inform people, because,
100%.
games are expensive, and people should have that expectation of, hey, if I'm going to go to a podcast, if I'm going to go to an article, if I'm going to seek out any kind of opinion, it should be a valid, unbiased, and informative piece of
But
content.
here's that problem, and I know I feel like I am right. The second you have someone saying, look at that article, they're like, he's a woke journalist, he doesn't know what he's talking about, they don't know what they're talking about,
Right.
and they start pointing their fingers. And that's where I feel like a podcast like ours, or something like like the guys at Season Gaming, like those guys
Mhm.
are very neutral. I would trust their opinion over something like the X Cloud Tim Dogs or something like that, because those guys, very specific niche, they do one thing, specifically, and they thrive in incitement and pointing the finger. Whereas someone like you or me, we're a little bit more open to the idea of what everybody's doing because we are in the industry and we know what more about what's happening than the average YouTuber. And I'm not saying one is better than the other, but like it's become a battle of truth versus, I guess, um
Rage baiting.
that's a good one. I was gonna say being an asshole because that's
Sure.
what they're
Okay. Fair
doing.
enough. I mean, they're
I mean, I don't
interchangeable.
want to sugar, but I'm going. Let's sugar. It is rage baiting, and
Yeah.
it's bad. Like, I mean, we come from a background where we have the, I guess, the ability to be open minded, and a lot of people don't do that these days because it's easier to be, excuse my language, an asshole
Mhm.
than be nice. And like the default emotion in a lot of people these days, and the actions are more negative. And I've always felt and believed that it's easier to be rude and mean, because I mean, really, it is, than being a good person and being nice and being welcoming and having that open mind of saying like, hey, okay, I understand my perspective's not the definitive one, it's just my opinion. What do you think? How do
Yeah.
you like, what does this person think? And that should be a good indicator of the person you're dealing with. So if you're looking for reviews of this game and you see it like something on YouTube where it's like a reaction GIF and it's like worst game ever of 2024, that's stuff that you should be avoiding. Whereas you could be like something else where we're just like, here's Rise of the Ronin review. Here's our opinion. I have never like been presumptuous to be like this game sucks from the outright. I kind of try to explain why a game is bad or if it's
Sure.
good, and you do the same thing. Just being outright negative and saying this game's garbage and these developers should be castrated and fired. No, I don't believe that's right. And it's unfortunate the biggest losers are the loudest, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now. We're seeing this revolt where, because social media has kind of shifted into a right wing stance, you're seeing trolls and goblins appear,
Well, I
And you
think
have
not only that is it's that a lot of these platforms now incentivize engagement or like
oh, exactly, they
like
do.
you know
100%.
they incentivize more of an
Rage
engagement
baiting.
and yeah, exactly, rage baiting, getting engagement based on troll posts and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
it sucks. I definitely see it not only on Twitter. I see it on TikTok. I see it on
100%.
YouTube. I
And
don't see it that much on Instagram, to be honest. Maybe that's a good
I
place.
mean, it is a good place, but the thing is, like, you always get warnings, like, "Are you sure you wanna post this comment?" And then it won't let you post it if
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
yeah. Do you want to bully this person? It's like,
yeah. So, like, that's cool, like, I'm all for that, but, like, I don't know, I'm an adult, I know you're an adult, and I was always raised to say, "Don't be a bully." Like, why? Like, what purpose does it serve? And I figured most people in our generation kind of learned that or knew that, but I've been wrong. Like, I was completely wrong, and I'm just seeing more and more people just show their true faces these days, and not just in our industry, across the board. And it's just like I didn't know like so many people were raised so incorrectly and abhorrently and uh, counter to what everything I've learned and what taught. And I don't get it. I just don't get it. Like, why can't you just play this game and enjoy it for what it is? Why does it need to be a woke game? What makes a game woke? Because you can make your male character be female or the opposite. Like, who cares? Like, really, it's a game. It's a video game, and I don't care about your DEI, agenda. Like, if you hate it, there's no reason to. It doesn't affect you at all.
right?
It just means more people can be themselves playing a game, and who cares? Like, that really is, like, the greatest thing of all.
I mean, there's about 50,000 games that come out on Steam each year.
Yeah,
I'm willing to bet that at least 2,000 of those
yeah,
could feature diverse characters, diverse messages and stuff.
yeah.
And the white generic male men like myself, they'll still be represented. I don't think
There's
that
representation for everybody these days, and it's like, I don't
right.
get why. You know what? I've actually what I've been doing is I'm seeing, like, these lists of games that are woke, and I'm using that as a
Yeah.
list of games to check out because, like, if that's what they're doing, cool.
Hey,
That probably means, like, there's something cool about them that I either missed when I got the press release or, I didn't see it. So, like, these people are actually putting in the work for me to, find better games to play. So, thanks, guys, for
I mean,
being
one of the
boomers.
most culturally diverse games, that I recently played was Venba, and I
Yeah,
mean,
see?
yeah, it's a Canadian game, and I'm gonna champion the shit out of that, but to me, like, there was so much knowledge and perspective I could
That's
take away
exactly
from
it.
that game that it's
And,
like, "Oh,
like,
oh, but it's woke, so what are we gonna do instead? Make a white person cooking game where you're making, like"
flapjacks and bacon? Yeah,
right?
I
Like,
got
"Oh,
cooking
here's
mama
a
for
grilled
that.
cheese," oh. Like,
Yeah, like,
who the
honestly,
fuck
like,
cares?
I don't care about that. Like, I grew up with like, we're in Canada, 1, first of all,
Yeah,
we're the most culturally diverse country in the world, 1, that's the big thing. I grew up with people of all colors, and, like, I was friends with all of these people from different around the world, and my friend was Indian, and, like, I learned to like their food because I saw, I went to their house and, like, I saw them making it, and then I ate it, and it was like, "This is delicious." Why are you getting upset that there's a game based on, like, a South Asian, mother who was just teaching how to cook?
right.
I don't get it. I don't get it. And I don't know. I'm over it. I know this is like off the path of what we were talking about, but it ties in because no matter what your game is, there's always some weirdo out there who probably needs a spanking and to be locked up. And that's kind of where I'm at with these people.
Right to gamer
So,
jail, that's where they belong,
I mean, I'm putting it out there. There's a distinct difference between a gamer, which are those chuds on Twitter and Facebook and all that, and a hobbyist like you or me. I find there's a big difference
sure.
because gamers are embarrassing. A hobbyist, they have the ability to, you know, put an opinion out there that won't hurt somebody. And I don't know where some of these people were raised. I was not raised to hurt people. ever. That
Fair
doesn't make
enough.
sense.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you need to throw daggers at someone because they're different than you? Because maybe they're trans? Who cares? I don't care. I mean, it doesn't affect me. So,
No.
like, I support you. Do your thing. It doesn't
Yeah.
affect me at all.
As long as you're
And
not
I
hurting
think
anyone, do whatever the hell you
whatever you
want.
want.
Be
If you want to
happy.
rob a bank, do it. I support you. Just don't get me involved.
Just
I don't.
just
Just send me your
exactly.
check after.
Right.
Send me the check after. Like, I don't want to be involved, but you can just. I
Launder the
support you.
money first, then send it over
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, the message is play games, have an open mind, and love each other. That's all I'm going to
That's
say.
it. That's it. Yeah, that's a very, very touching way to round out our discussion of Rise of the Ronin. I do encourage people to go out and at least try it. I think it got kind of a bad rap through social media. I think it's a special game. I don't think it's
It is.
the most revolutionary, but I think it is a great Team Ninja game. We talked about it. We had a full review there. Bobby, have you been playing anything else, or is that about it for this week?
Geez. Have I been playing anything else? I've actually finally got into the Trails of Heroes. I guess it's like a collection. So I'm in the
Okay.
first game. I've been playing it. I mean, it's been like 15 years since it's launched, and I finally said I'll just try one. And like I've been playing it. I kind of hacked my file to level up. I max leveled. I put all like the best items in my file just to breeze through it because I don't have time to play a 50-hour RPG on Steam Deck. But
Yep.
I'm impressed. Like actually, I'm kind of disappointed I waited so long to play it. But like the Trails and the Sky games are surprisingly really really good, and now I know why people seem to love them and why they're like it's a good follow up. If you like Final Fantasy, it really has like a really great world. It's pretty expansive, and yeah, if you haven't played them, play them. Like I recommend them so far. I'm gonna probably stick with it and get through them, even though there's like 15 games. But yeah,
I like it. Yeah.
yeah,
For me, I haven't really been playing all that much outside of Dragon's Dogma 2 and Rise of the Ronin. Although I am excited to get through Open Roads.
yeah,
I've heard it's
yeah.
a shorter little experience. I definitely
That's
want to
out.
check that out. And yeah, then get back to Rebirth. I want to definitely talk about it more on the show once I reach the end. Definitely want to talk about it with you because I think by then a lot of our audience will also have finished it. So I think that we'll be able to have like a more open discussion that doesn't really fall in line with a spoiler cast. We don't need to be as secretive. So yeah, looking forward to that. And
Yeah,
yeah, I think that about does it for this week, Bobby. I think this was a really good show. Yeah,
I
we had some good conversations.
I think so.
As we wrap things up, Bobby, where can people find you? Find the website?
You can find us at consolecreatures.com. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, anywhere. But the easiest way is to just go to the website, and it's all linked there in the side where you can find us.
Wonderful. As
Yeah.
for me, you can find me across the internet at svigvari. Don't forget, if you are listening to us, watching us on any of your feeds, YouTube, wherever, share with your friends, subscribe to the feeds and stuff like that. Also, go out and support PlayStation Generation. They record every Monday. They do it live, unlike us, but they do it live on YouTube at 1 p.m. ET. Go support Court, Matt, Rice. They do a really good job. I can't wait for more episodes from
Yeah,
them.
yeah, do that. And one little jab at Court. They do it at 1 p.m. because he likes to get the early special dinner at Swiss Chalet.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, he gets the senior discount. So there you go, Court.
That's
We
why
love
they
you.
do it at 1 p.m. And yeah, because nap time is right around the corner after that. Us, we like to do it in the evening
Yeah,
because
because we're
we
adults.
do ours after dark.
We're vampires.
We're
We're cold.
vampires, but we're also still young at heart.
Yes.
That's right. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye bye.